Ghana, West Africa, and we're looking for fresh fruit bunches from the oil palm. For much of West and Central Africa, palm oil, extracted from the fruit of the oil palm, is a nutritious staple of the diet. West Africa, from Guinea to northern Angola, has the oil palm resources to feed its own populations. Sadly, the reality is it doesn't, because 40% of the potential palm oil in West Africa is never recovered due to inefficient processing technology. The result, countries in the region suffer from a deficit in palm oil, and in turn, palm oil is traded at a premium, which is socially and economically undesirable. What West Africa lacks is appropriate technology to process the palm fruit. Here you see a typical palm oil processing business in the central region of Ghana near Cape Coast. They'll be doing extremely well if they extract more than 10% of the oil from their fresh fruit bunches using these age-old methods. With appropriate technology, they could be increasing their oil yield by as much as 80%. WACAPOL Group are delighted to announce the arrival in Africa, in Ghana, of a new small-scale mill that has the potential to capture that lost oil and revenue. We call it the POPM. Remember this, it stands for Palm Oil Processing Mini Mill. The POPM can increase palm oil productivity by up to 80%, bringing it close to industrial mill efficiency, as measured by palm oil extraction rate. The POPM bridges the gap between industrial-scale processing and artisan village techniques. The POPM has been generating huge interest throughout West Africa. One of the first delegations to view the mill at work came from Nigeria, where the oil palm industry was born, and from where it was exported to Malaysia and Indonesia. The location for the first POPM in Abrafo, Ghana, was organised by Elizabeth Mingle. She already sees the benefits.
Do you think it'll have an effect on the village of Abrafo?
Oh yes, because a lot of people will be working here, a lot of the youth will be working here, and they also have enough money to help them in their day in and day out ventures in Abrafo, and it's going to be marvelous.
The POPM is a semi-automated and robust mill, consisting of a sterilizer, a thresher, digester, a press and a clarifier. It was designed in Nigeria in the 80s. Industrial mills haven't really worked in Africa because of high maintenance costs and the seasonal nature of the harvest, with its troughs and peaks. The POPM borrows from industrial palm oil processing technology, as well as traditional techniques, and creates a hybrid mill perfectly suited for the plantation owner or palm oil processing entrepreneur. It consists of durable components that have all been tried and tested in the field. It's environmentally friendly, using waste from the fruit bunches and fruit to create the heat and steam needed to extract the red oil from the fruit bunches. Behind WACAPOL lies something of a family story. WACAPOL's CEO is Mark Hadcock, here on the right. He's son of the engineer behind the POPM, Michael Hadcock, who worked in West Africa as a palm oil engineer for 20 years, becoming a Nigerian chief while there. He waited over 20 years to see his dream of the POPM come alive. It did so in Krakow, southern Poland, where the equipment is built to EU standards.
As far as West Africa is concerned, you've really got no fresh fruit bunch processing equipment in between, shall we say, the rural processing technique, which is highly inefficient and it does not produce a very good quality oil, and the industrial scale processing equipment, which is very costly and also very polluting as well. So really there's a tremendous demand for what one might call is appropriate intermediate processing equipment, and this is what we've tried to achieve here.
The hot fruit is removed from the sterilizer or cooker, where it's been cooked using steam, and enters the thresher, where the fruit is stripped from the fruit bunch. The fruit falls to the floor of the cage, and the empty bunches fall out into a wheelbarrow beside the thresher. The fruit is then conveyed by an elevator up to the digester, where it is diluted with hot water and digested into a mash. The digested fruit is put into press cages and then pressed. This equipment will process 1 ton of fruit bunches per hour, which should produce in excess of 1.4 tons of palm oil per 8-hour shift. In peak season, the mill can be run 24/7, and during the trough months, that can be cut back to 1 shift a day. The equipment is modular and can be run with up to 4 lines in tandem. The equipment has been very well received by the locals, to whom it provides a full-time job and much welcomed income. Here's Alfred, a mechanical engineer.
And what do you think of this mill?
Oh, it's very good, very good, and then it's very even portable for even everyone. If you get money or if you can afford to get money.
If you can afford it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's,
but it makes a lot of oil, I think.
oh yeah, very good.
The POPM produces 80% more oil from the fruit bunch than local artisan methods. If the POPM is introduced throughout the oil palm growing belt of West and Central Africa, that translates to self-sufficiency and even a surplus in very quick time. And the oil will be green and from sustainable sources because the oil palm is indigenous to the equatorial belt of Africa and grows in the wild. Red oil is controversial because of what is happening in Malaysia and Indonesia, where virgin rainforest is being cut down to make way for new and vast oil palm plantations. But in Africa, red oil is part of the very fabric of life. It's a valuable and healthy source of vitamins A and E, a staple of the diet, it provides a living, and it's part of the very culture of its peoples. The POPM creates employment in the countryside for both men and women and will quickly generate a multiple effect in local economies. The oil is pumped from the desanding tank to the clarifier, where the water is removed, the oil dried. It is then ready for sale. Most importantly, this equipment pays for itself very quickly. At just 38% utilization, or 3,300 hours per year, which is just under 10 hours per day, the POPM will pay for itself in less than 15 months.